Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Liberty Call. Today is Friday. Woohoo! March 15th, 2024. I am pooped. I just spent like 2 hours out there clearing my driveway after spending an hour out there yesterday halfway through the storm. So not sure how many hundreds of pounds of snow I moved. And it's like I got the driveway all cleared off, and then there was like 2 feet of snow on the cars. And then, you pull it off the car, and now you have this snow drift between the cars. And it's just, you got to then move them forward and then plow where the cars are and then put them back. And it's just, whew. And it was wet, heavy snow. Wasn't that the nice soft stuff, which is really easy to move around? This stuff was like concrete. So anyways, all done. So hopefully that's, that's probably, in the 7 winters I've lived here, this is the worst I've had to deal with. So, they don't have it very often. Usually when it snows, you get 6 inches to a foot. It's usually soft and powdery, and it's easy to deal with. But not this time. This late in the year, you get it's kind of like this time of year, and then like in October, the snow is wet and heavy, and it breaks the tree limbs and everything else. So, anyways, you didn't come here to hear about snow removal, did you? I mean, if you did, I am selling snowballs, or snowball kits. So if you want some, email me. It's right here on the screen. And I'll be happy to send you a box of free snowballs. So, all right. Well, if it is your first time watching Liberty Call, I see you right there. Don't hide. If you could do me a favor, give me some thumbs up, a like, a share, subscribe, a follow, press the notification bell. And let's go ahead and see how the markets did today. Not real good, unfortunately. The Dow Jones was down 0.49%, 190 points, closed at 38,714. S&P 500 down 0.65%, closed at 5117. NASDAQ down 0.96%, closed at 15,973. The VIX was basically flat today, only up 0.07. It's at 1441. Let's see here. Canada up 0.09, Brazil down 0.74, and Mexico up 0.3. In Europe, Germany, Germany's had some really, relatively flat days, down 0.08%. The UK down 0.2%, France up 0.04%. The Netherlands down 0.81%, Spain up 1.02%, Italy up 0.46%, Switzerland down 0.38%, and Portugal up 1.24%. Russian exchanges were split today. The MOEX up 0.16%, RTSI down 1.08%. And the Asian markets, the Nikkei in Japan was down 1/3, Australia down 0.56%, New Zealand down 0.51%. In China, the Shanghai was up 0.54%, the Shenzhen Component up 0.6%, China A50 up 0.09%, DJ Shanghai up 0.56%, Hang Seng down 1.42%, and the Taiwan weighted down 1.28%. So, kind of a mixed day globally. Wasn't really that shocked when I saw that the markets were down today. Just, again, it's my expectation at some point all the stimulus spending is going to run out of steam, and people are going to get and also the resurgence of inflation. I don't think that's going to help anything. Some of the people that I follow and read, namely Peter Schiff, he seems to think that we're going to, inflation is going to springboard back to 9%. I don't know about that, but I do see that it is a bit sticky, and it is, it's not going away as quickly as the Fed would like. All right. Let's bring up the markets for the week and see how they did. Let me zoom in a little bit. There it is. All righty. So starting out with the Dow Jones for the week, it is going to finish off up 0.13. It was as high as about 1 1/3. It was about as high as 1 1/3 midweek, and then finishes the week off about 0.13 up. The S&P 500, most of these charts are going to look fairly similar. Finishes the week off in the green by 0.11, and it peaked out at about 1.32. The NASDAQ is going to finish the week in the red at down 0.54%, and it was up as much as, about 1 1/4. So Dow Transports for the week, going to finish down 1.44, and the Dow Utilities going to finish the week down about 0.75%. So, all right. Well, those are the markets for the week. Looked good midweek, but everything just went to crap, unfortunately. But again, it doesn't really surprise me based upon everything that's going on. I mean, my expectation is things are going to get really rocky, but listen to your own advisor, or, well, listen to me if you want. I'm more than happy to give you that sort of information. All right, let's get to the economic data for the week. Starting out with jobless claims. Initial claims came in at 209,000. Forecast was 218. Last week's number was 210,000. Continuing claims came in at 1.811 million. Forecast was 1.9 million. Last week's number was 1.794. So it went up a smidge, not too bad. Consumer price index year over year was up 3.2%. Forecast was 3.1. So this is some of that sticky inflation I was talking about. On a month-on-month basis, it was only up 0.4%. So huge, no, right on forecast. Last month's number was a 0.3. The producer price index was up 1.6%. The forecast was only 1.1. Last month's number was a 1% even. The month-on-month number grew by 0.6. The forecast was 0.3. Retail sales year over year expanded at 1.5%. Last month's number was a 0.04. So a little bit of growth there on a month-on-month basis. Retail sales grew by 0.6%, and the forecast was 0.8. Industrial production year over year contracted at 0.23%. Last month's number was a contraction of 0.31, and on a month-on-month basis, it actually grew by 0.1. Forecast was supposed to be 0. And the consumer sentiment number came in at 76.5. The forecast was 77.1. Last month's number was 76.9, so it did go down a little bit. All right, well, that is the data for the week. I only got 2 articles to cover this today because I'm pooped. You spend all that time. I mean, it's weird. What's the temperature outside? It's like 37. So, you're all bundled up in, like Ralphie, or not Ralphie, Randy from A Christmas Story, with your arms stuck out. They can't put them down. And, you get all dressed up because you won't freeze to death. 37 is not too bad. But, some days when you clear the snow, it's like 0. And, you got 2 pairs of gloves on and your fingers are numb. But, after a while being out there moving that snowblower around, you're sweating at your core, but your extremities are frozen solid. So maybe not frozen solid, but they're numb at that point. And so, you come in and you're like, it's kind of like mowing the grass because, it's the same kind of motor, and you stink of like lawnmower exhaust. And then you're coming in and you're pulling, and it's like your clothes are all stuck to you from, it's like mowing the grass back in Houston in the summer. All right, enough of that. Market recap, U.S. stocks slip as tech bulls turn cautious after yields rise ahead of Fed meeting. Let's see, where are we? All right, on Friday, U.S. stocks experienced a decline with particular pressure on the tech sector due to increasing Treasury yields. Concerns arose regarding the Federal Reserve's potential emphasis on maintaining higher interest rates for a prolonged period following reports of persistent inflation. Treasury yields surged, reinforcing expectations of delayed Fed rate cuts, especially in light of recent data indicating faster than expected inflation, alongside signs of weakening consumer sentiment. The University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index dropped to 76.5, missing projections and highlighting a potential slowdown in consumer strength. Despite this, only around 55% of traders anticipate a rate cut by June, down slightly from the previous week. As the Fed prepares to convene on March 20th, investors eagerly await insights into the central bank's economic outlook and future interest rate trajectory. The anticipation of unchanged interest rates contributed to heightened market attention on the Fed's forthcoming statements. The tech sector bore the brunt of the market downturn, impacted by escalating Treasury yields that favorably affected growth-oriented segments. Additionally, Adobe Systems faced investor scrutiny after reporting below par second quarter revenue guidance, attributed to heightened competition and tepid demand for its AI products. Conversely, Micron Technology defied the market trend, buoyed by positive sentiment from Citi, which identified Micron as a top pick and raised its price target based on growth prospects driven by increased artificial intelligence exposure. Ulta Beauty shares plummeted by 4% after the company projected lower than expected full-year profits, citing elevated supply chain costs and intensified promotional activities impacting margins. In contrast, Fisker Inc. witnessed a modest uptick following its announcement of capital-raising efforts aimed at bolstering its financial position, downplaying earlier bankruptcy speculation. The crypto market saw a reversal in fortunes with stocks like MicroStrategy, Incorporated, Marathon, and Coinbase Global recovering from earlier losses as Bitcoin rebounded from a 10% decline. This turnaround coincides with anticipation surrounding Bitcoin's upcoming halving event, expected to decrease the rate of new Bitcoin production and potentially elevate its scarcity premium. All right. So that's everything there in the markets and economy for today. Let's dive into just some food for thought. This comes from over at the Mises Institute, the Mises Wire. This article today is titled, Should the U.S. Congress Audit the Fed? By Jane L. Johnson. I would say yes. We talked about, is the Fed impartial the other day, so I figured this would be a nice add-on to that. All right. The Federal Reserve System, established by Congress in 1913. Evil People by President Woodrow Wilson. Probably my top 5 of worst presidents, up there with Lincoln and FDR. Through the Federal Reserve Act, stands as a distinctive institution in the in the U.S. financial landscape, comprising 12 regional district banks responsible for issuing U.S. currency. The Fed operates with a unique degree of independence from both the executive branch and direct federal funding. Yeah, well, we know that's not absolutely true. We covered that the other day. Originally conceived as a means to manage currency issuance, the Fed's role has expanded significantly over the years. It now wields considerable influence, intervening in financial crises, executing monetary policy, and bailing out troubled banks. Usually the last one. Despite its profound impact on the economy, the Fed's operations often elude comprehensive understanding by elected officials. Well, elected officials are just the public, and the public is made up of idiots. So calls for increased transparency and oversight of the Fed have emerged periodically, with notable efforts led by former Congressman Ron Paul, one of the greatest human beings to ever live, and more recently, Congressman Thomas Massie, another great American. Proposed legislation such as H.R. 24 and S. 3566 seeks to subject the Fed to audits by the General Accountability Office, aiming to shed light on its operations and decision-making processes. Not that the GAO does a great job. I mean, they also come out and tell us that the government, well, if we do exactly this, we'll pay off the deficit will be this much lower in a decade. Well, it never is. They always project everything out 10 years, and it never makes a difference. We just continue to go further into debt. However, challenges persist in navigating the intricacies of Fed oversight. The term audit itself may not fully encapsulate the depth of investigation required into the Fed's policies and procedures. Concerns also arise regarding the potential consequences of the Fed's significant operating losses, particularly in the context of high interest rates. Yeah, every time they run a loss, we pick up the tab. If they run a profit, they keep it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see here. Efforts to reform the Fed extend beyond legislative action, with the judicial branch also weighing in on matters of administrative agency independence. Cases before the Supreme Court challenged the Chevron doctrine, which could have far-reaching implications for the Fed's autonomy and broader administrative state. If you're not familiar with the Chevron doctrine, that goes back to the 80s during the Reagan administration. And what it basically said was it gave the latitude for a lot of these agencies, I think it was the EPA at the time, that they could make their own rules. And, when in reality, all rules and regulations really need to be submitted and voted on by the Congress and, approved or signed into law by the president. The Chevron doctrine basically said that the Supreme Court said, well, as long as it's within your purview, you can make up your own rules. And that's the problem we're dealing with today, is that a lot of these agencies, all across the board, sort of like the ATF is a good one, where they made a ruling about the pistol brace. I don't have one. I'm not quite sure what it is. But, I have firearms, but I just have never had one or looked into it because I've never felt the need. But, the ATF said that they're illegal, and basically, that is a lot of the gun rights organizations have taken that up through the chain of command to this, or I think they're trying to get it to the Supreme Court so that they can say, so the gun rights folks are hoping that the Supreme Court will say, well, the agencies only enforce the laws, they cannot make up their own rules. And that's basically the case with the Chevron doctrine. And, applying that to the Federal Reserve is, they basically, been autonomous to do whatever they want. And, if they lose that ability, I guess, everything will have to be done through the Congress and then filter out to the Fed. Whew. Anyways, ultimately, the question of how independently the Fed should operate remains a subject on ongoing debate and scrutiny. As the Fed enters its 111th year, the push for greater transparency and accountability underscores the importance of understanding and evaluating its role in reshaping the U.S. economy. Still went 15 minutes, even with all that. Anyways, we're only covering 2 articles today. All right, well, that's everything I had for today. If anyone needs anything from me, please go to dsafinancialgroup.com. All my contact information's there. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Let's hope we don't get any more snow. It's not in the horizon. Plus, I got a trip coming up end of next week to go see clients down in Texas. And I'm taking my trailer, so hopefully I won't have to dig it out. We're supposed to have 50-degree days all this upcoming week, so hopefully most of the snow melts away, because there's like again, like 2 feet on top of it. I really don't want to climb up there and have to push it off. So anyways, so like I said, hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I shall talk to you guys next time. Adios.